Nothing exposes the gaps in postpartum weight loss advice like bounce back culture. The pressure hits immediately, the support disappears overnight, and somehow you're expected to have it all figured out on your own. This is Nourished Mamas, the postpartum weight loss podcast, and I'm Mallory, a registered dietitian, weight loss coach, and mom who knows how disorienting this season can feel. Postpartum brings a whole new set of challenges no one prepares you for. The cravings that hit out of nowhere, the mom brain that makes everything take twice as long, the afternoons that feel impossible to push through, and the pressure to bounce back when you're just trying to get through the day. Here, we talk honestly about what's going on behind all of that, in a way that actually makes sense, and I'll walk you through simple, realistic changes that help you feel more steady, more energized, and more confident in your body again. No extremes, no shame, and no complicated systems that you'll want to abandon within the next 2 days. Just practical support that fits into your mom life, the messy, loud, beautiful, exhausting version, not Pinterest version. If you're ready to understand what your body is doing and finally have a plan that works in this season, let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Nourished Mamas podcast. In today's episode, let's talk about optimizing your metabolism after having children. So we basically have an internet's worth of conflicting advice out there. And a lot of it is not going to be helpful to you when you are trying to lose weight after having kids. And that is so frustrating. So I just want to share what has been the most effective for my clients in revving up their metabolisms. And this is anywhere between 3 months postpartum to some of my clients have 5, 10, 11-year-olds. So essentially, what we've been told is eat less, move more, cut calories, cut out carbs. And if that worked, you wouldn't still feel stuck. So your metabolism isn't broken. It's just, and this is going to sound crazy because I know you're trying to lose weight. We just talked about how most of the time society says eat less, move more. Our doctors say it. We're told this all the time. But the reason you may be stuck is because you are not eating enough food, whether that is protein, fiber, or calories in general. Most of the time, postpartum moms aren't needing to cut out more. They're not needing to push harder. You need to support your metabolism. And we're going to dive into what this looks like. But essentially, your metabolism is how your body uses energy. And when you have children, you have all of these things go on where you have hormone changes, sleep disruptions, more stress, your meals are inconsistent. And it kind of reacts as though you're in a famine. Dieting makes this even worse. So our bodies are super, super protective of weight. They're protective of fat. They're protective of us. And a huge part of that with our ancestors would have been to, sorry, I have a cat on my shoulder. So it would have been to really make sure that you have enough fuel to get through like the lean times, whether that's a famine, war, winter, whatever that looks like. Your body slows down its metabolism to be super, super efficient. It's not perfect as a machine per se, but like that's why calories in, calories out doesn't typically work that great. But your body will store fat more efficiently, which is bad for weight loss, right? When we give it less food, especially if that is maintained over time. So if you're continuously eating less, tracking your food more, exercising more, and you're hitting 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 calories a day, your body may be in complete survival mode where it's conserving that energy. Your weight loss stalls out, your energy tanks. You're feeling like you can't even get through 3 p.m., let alone dinner. And then you still have to do bath time and put your kids to bed, and you're like asleep on your feet. So this is something where, especially like breastfeeding, working out, the stress of having a new child, like regardless of what point of your postpartum journey you're in, if you're dieting and you're eating less and you're tracking more and all of the things we just talked about, your body might rebel. So it really doesn't want to lose fat. It's very, very protective. So because of that, I don't want you to think that weight loss is impossible. I just wanted you to have an idea of why dieting backfires most of the time. And so that's where you're seeing you lose some weight, it's working well, and you're doing all of the things, tracking all the food, eating perfectly, quote unquote. And then all of a sudden your weight plateaus, and then you get either more motivated and you keep pushing, but you're still stuck, or you lose motivation because the scale is stuck, and then you start regaining the weight you lost and end up at that higher weight, like that yo-yo pendulum swing that you might be seeing. That is where that is coming in. The body likes to hold on to it. So there is a way around it, but you really have to support your metabolism while you lose weight. So we're going to dive into that in this episode. I'm going to give you some of my best tips, um, because I feel like we don't want it to backfire. You want to really fuel your metabolism, fuel your body. And so we're going to talk about what that looks like. And we're going to talk about some of the exercise that may be more helpful to allow you to gain more muscle while losing fat stores. Um, because cardio is not always the best bet. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but it might not always be the most helpful for weight loss. So, when you're supporting your metabolism, let's look at what this looks like. So you're looking at calories as fuel, especially if you're working out, if you're lifting weights, um, and constantly on the move with kids. You need consistency much more than you need perfection. And under eating is going to create you more stress. So a huge part of this is the timing of your meals. Um, really spreading your food out throughout the day will help you with your energy. It will feed your metabolism. And so, what does that mean? That means when you wake up in the morning, within a couple hours, you probably need to eat breakfast. And you may be saying, but Mallory, I'm not hungry in the morning. I'm sure, because our society has pushed us toward eating less, so we skip breakfast. Or even you may be getting your kids ready for school, you may be getting your little ones ready for daycare and yourself ready for work. Um, but if you skip breakfast and you're not getting enough protein, enough fiber, enough healthy fats to start out the day, then you're going to have issues all throughout the day with feelings of control around food. So it leads to feeling more hungry later in the day. Your body tries to make up for it at night. So that's where like your 3 p.m. crash comes in. Your blood sugar is just tanking out by 3 p.m. because you didn't eat enough in the morning. And then you also may be craving more sweet food at night. That's super, super common when you are not having enough in the first part of the day. So beyond that, looking at lunch and dinner as like two, or not two. So you're doing your meals 3 to 4 hours apart for timing. And so you may be having lunch, whether you are grabbing a snack at work or just reaching into the pantry and grabbing something quick. If you aren't having enough protein and enough fiber at lunch, you still kind of set yourself up for those cravings later at night. So balancing out breakfast, balancing out lunch, and then sometimes, and I have gotten trolled for this on Threads specifically, but Instagram a couple of times as well. You can have a snack as a postpartum mom, especially, having a snack in the middle of the day, like say lunch is at noon and dinner's not until 7, even if it's at 6, that is 6 to 7 hours between meals. No wonder you're starving at 3 to 4 p.m. That makes sense. Physiologically, you probably need a snack right there. And I have gotten some shade for saying that. So I want to make sure that you know you have permission to have a snack. Finding a way to balance it out with that protein, fat, fiber, all of the things there can make it easier. So we're really looking for consistency. So many of my clients do really well with rounding out their dinners with like a protein, a starch, a or those are the same thing, protein, carbs, and veggies. Like they do really well with that. But sometimes lunch and it's sometimes breakfast. It just kind of depends on where you're falling on that scale. Those are the things that I tend to work on the most with clients to round them out and help them with their metabolisms. Okay. I'm losing my voice. I've been talking to so many people this week. Hope I'm not getting a cold, but so far I think it's just that I've been talking too much, which for me is a good thing. I love it. So for your exercise, we talked a teeny bit already about cardio. Let's talk about that versus strength training. So I'm not saying don't do walks. I'm not saying if you like running, not to do it, because the cardio supports our heart health. It's very important. However, um, something we've learned from the 90s, and we're kind of pushing back toward it right now, is cardio um, is very, very helpful for a lot of things, but it doesn't give you that physique that you may be looking for. Like if you want to feel strong, if you want to have curves, if you want to feel toned, that's going to come from weight training. And a lot of the moms I work with are surprised when they start training with either dumbbells, the squat machines, whatever you have available. Sometimes I will even work out with my child. He's a 30-pound kettlebell. I'm not going to swing him or anything, but I can do some goblet squats with a 3-year-old and he or 2-year-old and he loves it. He thinks it's hilarious. So one thing that I do want to note here is you may be a lot stronger than you think already. Um, when I first started getting back into strength training after having Elijah, I was at the gym and I reached for some 5-pound dumbbells to do like bicep curls and like the shoulder presses and everything. And I'm sitting there like, why is this so easy? This should be hard. I just gave birth. Well, my son was 25 pounds at the time, or up to 20 pounds. So having him where was constantly carrying him around. I did a lot of baby wearing when he was really little. So I didn't really realize how strong I was. So sometimes it just takes playing with it a little bit, seeing where you're comfortable, and figuring out that balance for you. And having those, especially heavier weights, is going to make a huge difference for you. The reason this works for your metabolism is with cardio, it works during the day that you did it. So your metabolism is revved up a bit for that day. That's why when you go jogging, when you go skiing, when you go swimming, you might be really tired by the end of the day. Weightlifting takes a minute to catch up, which is a good thing. It keeps your metabolism elevated for up to 2 days after you weightlift because the body is having this challenging time, which is a good thing, with your muscles, where as you're growing strength, you're tearing the muscle fibers, and then as they heal and they grow back stronger. That's where that strength comes from. But to do that takes energy. So we have that protein, we have those forms of carbs that may have a little more fiber in them. And that blood sugar and your protein sources, those are going to support muscle growth, but they're also going to keep your metabolism revved up while you're healing from strength training. And ideally, this is 2 up to 4 times a week. If you have not done any kind of strength training in the past, I'd start with 1, bump it to 2 when you feel comfortable, and build up over time. There's so many YouTube videos. If you want Um, Tips on where to start with this, I can point you in that direction. Just send me a DM. Um, I can send you some of my favorite strength training workouts. I just feel like it can be so powerful as you're trying to lose weight and not have that stall out. So another missing piece. Let's dive into fiber. So protein gets the most attention. It really does. However, what I have found with tracking meals with my clients is that the first week we usually say how much fiber or no, how much protein to track, what to get to. And I don't use tracking like long term, but I do like it as getting a baseline. So seeing where they're at on protein. And most of the time, they're getting enough. Maybe not spread out across the day like we talked about with meal timing, but usually we're not lacking much in protein. However, fiber is consistently low. This is something that matters because it's going to stabilize your energy, your digestion, your fullness, supports your blood sugar, prevents all kinds of chronic diseases. And the fiber works with the protein to really slow things down, make you feel full longer, all of that. Um, and consistently, this is the nutrient that people tend to be the lowest in, especially my mom clients. So, this is something where you can look at what you're doing right now and see if it's something that you are also low on. So what low is, like with a essentially the guidelines say 25 to 30 grams per day. Most of my clients average 10 to 15, usually on the lower end per day of fiber. And where you get fiber is fruits, veggies, whole grains, all our carbs that have like extra stuff with them. That's why we tell you to eat whole grains and not be afraid of carbs. Um, is because that's where a lot of your fiber is coming from. You get it from beans, you get it from legumes, lentils, all of these things. It's funny when we're looking at their day and there's a day that has significantly higher fiber than other days. It's usually because they had some sort of beans that day. Um, but doing it where you're starting with 10, you wouldn't want to jump to 30 all at once. You'd want to build up over time. So supporting your metabolism, it's not just one thing. It's not just a piece. This is a combination of making sure you're getting enough food, eating it consistently throughout the day, strength training, fiber intake, all of these things are going to help you. And these may be things that you're not currently doing. So I would ask you to take a look at where you're at right now, see if any of these things could be improved on, and your body is not failing you. You may just not be getting enough food. You may be restricting too much. So, if this episode helped you realize anything about your metabolism where you don't need more restriction, but more support, and you're wondering what this looks like for you specifically, this is what we do inside the Nourished Mamas Blueprint. Inside that blueprint, we will take a deep dive into your current habits, look at your schedule, your energy levels, and see which of these pieces may be missing and how we can improve on it, while taking into account your life, your schedule, your kids, your preferences, all of these things, and breaking it down for you so that we can map out that plan that's going to support your body and your life in this season of motherhood. There's not a one size fits all. The tips in this episode specifically are just the things that I see the most frequently where my clients tend to not have enough support within their planning. So, this is more personalized coaching. It gives you accountability and support. So, you're not guessing, you're not piecing things together. I can help you pinpoint exactly where you can make these improvements so that you don't have to continue to Google all of the time, and we can map out recipes, we can map out a meal plan, whatever that looks like, to make sure that you feel confident in your plan moving forward. You can apply for the Nourished Mamas Blueprint today. I'm going to drop the link in the show notes. And I really feel like this can be that missing piece for you. If you feel like you're struggling, if you want more energy, if you feel like you're doing everything right, but you just can't pinpoint why your weight is stuck, please reach out to me. This is what I love to do. It's one of my favorite things is just pinpointing those little things that we can tweak. So most of the time it is a tweak. It's not an entire diet overhaul. So I hope that helps you feel encouraged. I hope that this episode was beneficial for you, and I really am excited to see your applications come through. So let me know how I can best support you there. I will talk to you guys next week. Thank you for listening to the podcast.